Honda is not all of a sudden one of the greatest motorcycle manufacturers of the world, because it's really ready to rebirth all the time. When more than a decade ago the economical crisis started, a little bit later they came out with the NC series, which was absolutely a money-saving motorbike, let's say. And when the economy started to work well again, they showed us the Neo Sports Cafe family, and for nowadays it became a really big family, from 125 up to 1000 cubic centimeters. The 301 liter versions we already showed to you, and for this year a new member of this family is the CB650R, which is so much new motorbike that it's really worth to speak about it absolutely in details. The basics of the whole Neo Sports Cafe, let's say, thinking is that Honda is mixing different styles, the cafe racers and the street fighters, because they kept mixed several elements of the motorbike which are really belonging to different styles. The absolutely rounded lamp and this whole clean lining with the aggressive style of the fuel tank, for example, and the side panels, and this very short end part of the motorbike, which is really good for the whole style and the looking and the aggressivity, and not really good for the passengers. Of course, this bike was more or less existing also previously, because Honda had a CB650F, which was born in 2017, and that was looking pretty similar, and even the name was pretty similar. But this one, the R version, which is belonging to the Neo Sports Cafe line already, is pretty much different from that. For example, the frame is an absolutely new one, partially because of this redesigned thing. The whole bike is 6 kilograms less. The engine's cubic capacity is the same, 649 cubic centimeters, but from the inside it's pretty much different, because, for example, the compression ratio is higher, and the whole power output is 5 brake horsepower more. But what is much more important, that the torque, especially in the low and the mid RPM range, is much better than it was in the previous one. So you can ride with this bike much less stressfully than with the previous one. You don't have to use so high RPMs, and also the whole exhaust system, although is looking absolutely similar, but in the inside the diameter of the tube became bigger also. Of course, the new CB650R has a 6-speed sequential gearbox, and what is a new thing, that you can order a quick shifter into it, although it is working only upways, and as changing the gears upways, it's also very easy without clutch, only with closing the throttle for short periods. Maybe this is not a really good extra feature. If it would work downways as well, it would be much better. The final drive is of course with chain, and the bike also has a traction control which can be switched off, and a slipper clutch, just as all the smaller and bigger members in its family. In the rear part, in the suspension and in the brake, we do not find really new thing related to the previous F version. We have a single disc, one piston caliper, and the central suspension unit. But in the front there are really huge changes, because the telescopic forks are changed to upside down versions, and they are 41 millimeter thick, and we already have radial brakes, which are of course in both sides, and they have 4 piston calipers, and the brakes are working absolutely proper. The ABS starts to work pretty late, so you can really ride the bike on a sporty way. And what is also a big red point for Honda, that these front telescopic forks, which are coming from Showa, are absolutely working proper, because they are very well mixing the sporty rideability and the comfort. On average quality roads, even here in Hungary, It's pretty comfortable. Only when you are driving through really big road bumps, then it's moving the front part a little bit, but not dangerously, only showing that this is the maximum. To a cafe racer, more sporty handlebar is necessary, but luckily the Neo Sports Cafe is not absolutely a cafe racer from this point, so we get a not too wide but wide enough straight handlebar in front of us, which is pretty close to the rider, and it means or results that you can really well go on the wind, and it's really an active riding position. So for riding on curvy roads, it's very easy and an extremely great fun with this bike in this seat position. For the legs, as the foot pegs are pretty high positioned, it's also we have a sharp knee angle, but it's also not uncomfortable absolutely at all. And as I always get the critics that I am too high for the motorbikes, as I am 190 centimeters, I would like to ask one of my journalist colleagues, he is 180, to sit on the bike, and then you can check out that for a 180 tall guy, which is much more average, the bike is also absolutely comfortable, and to reach the floor is also totally good for this height as well. While riding with the CB650R Neo Sports Cafe in the previous few days, we got a lot of questions that if motorbike is good for touring at all or absolutely not ready for that because of this short back part. It's really easy to say that it's an ugly thing to put, let's say, a top case behind here. It really would destroy the design of the whole motorbike. And of course, this is not the whole rear section is not really good for the passenger as well, although the keeping possibilities are really good here, made from plastic, but it's a good keeping possibility for the passenger. But anyhow, all in all, it's not a comfortable place for even a small body lady. But it's really funny that Honda is giving a lot of extra things for the motorbike which you can buy from the dealer. For example, they have a big soft bag here and also a soft bag to the fuel tank, and all in all the capacity of the two of these are 55 liters, so it can be absolutely enough for one person touring. And just as increase the touring abilities, you can also buy as factory feature USB socket on the handlebar and heated grips too. Nowadays we can find this dashboard on several Honda models. It's really a well readable inverse black liquid crystal piece. It's absolutely informative. We have RPM, we can see the shift indicator, which was missing on the previous F version. And even we can see on the side the traction control, which can be switched off from the handlebar with our left finger. And it's also important that on this model we also have the shift gearing indicator, which is showing when you have to gear up. The previous CB650F version also had a LED main light, but in this model the form of it and the design of it is much nicer. And what is also a change, that all the other lights, so the indicators, the rear light and the brake light, are also working with LED system. These front indicators are also working, let's say, as a position light, so always lighting in this yellow color. And the bike's, let's say, emergency indicators button moved from the right to the left side. It's also unique even in Honda, because on many bikes it's on the right side, and for me it's a really good thing, at least for me, that this is here, because when you are moving in the traffic and would like to thank for somebody that let you go through, and to make this whole thing with your right hand while working with the throttle as well is not that comfortable as with the left hand, so it is much better. And also a new thing in this R version, that when you make an emergency braking, so the deceleration is high enough, then the bike starts to flash the indicators very quickly to show for the traffic behind you that there is something emergency in front of them. If you liked our review, please push a thumb up on it. If you donate our work, you can find the link of it under the video, then we send all of our films to you before their publicity. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe for our channel and watch our previous films and reviews as well. Thanks a lot for your kind attention.